Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to the fourth video I'm making on Arms and the Man, Act 1. So I hope you have enjoyed watching the other three videos I had posted before this. So if you haven't watched it, I want you to stop here and go back and watch all those videos, and then we can continue with the present video here. So I hope that I find you all in good health and cheer. So let's continue with where we left off in the last class. So in the last class, we left off at a very tense and dramatic situation. A man had come into a young lady named Raina Petkov's room, and he belonged to the Serbian army. First he threatened her that he will shoot her if she made an alarm. But then he threatened her with her fur cloak that if someone comes into her room and sees her wearing a flimsy nightgown, that could become scandalous. But then, when people have actually got information that he was hiding in this room all this while, he becomes chivalrous all of a sudden and he gives her back the cloak. And this really warms Raina up to him. So Raina decides to save him by hiding him behind the curtains in her room. So the maid servant Lauka comes into the room bearing information that a Russian soldier, a Russian officer accompanied by Catherine will be coming here. Catherine, Raina's mother, will be coming to the room to inspect if there is any intruder in this room. The Russian officer comes and inspects the room, the balcony. He doesn't see anybody there. So he leaves. But Lauka actually sees an evidence that Raina is indeed hiding a man in this room. On the ottoman stool, on the ottoman furniture in the center of the room, Lauka sees a pistol which was thrown earlier by the strange man. So now Lauka is actually privy to the information that Raina has hidden somebody in this room. So this is where we left off in the last class. Let's continue with what happens after this.
A narrow shave, but a miss is as good as a mile. Dear young lady, your servant to the death. I wish for your sake I had joined the Bulgarian army instead of the other one. I am not a native Serb, in fact.
No, you are one of the Austrians who set the Serbs on to rob us of our national liberty and who officer their army for them. We hate them.
Austrian? Not I. Don't hate me, dear young lady. I'm a Swiss, fighting merely as a professional soldier. I joined the Serbs because they came first on the road from Switzerland. Be generous. You've beaten us hollow.
Have I not been generous?
A noble, heroic, but I'm not saved yet. This particular rush will soon pass through, but the pursuit will go on all nighty by fits and starts. I must take my chance to get off in a quiet interval. You don't mind my waiting just a minute or two, do you?
Oh, not at all. Won't you sit down?
Thank you.
Raina walks with a studied elegance to the ottoman and sits down. Unfortunately, she sits on the pistol and jumps up with a shriek. The man, all nerves, shies like a frightened horse to the one other side of the room.
Don't you frighten me like that. What is it?
Your revolver! It was staring that officer in the face all the time. What an escape!
Oh, is that all?
I'm sorry I frightened you. Pray, take it to protect yourself against me.
No use, dear young lady. There's nothing in it. It's not loaded.
Load it by all means.
I've no ammunition. What use are cartridges in battle? I always carry chocolate instead. And I finished the last cake of that hours ago.
Chocolate? Do you stuff your pockets with sweets like a schoolboy, even in the field?
Why, yes. Isn't it contemptible? I wish I had some right now.
Oh, allow me. I have some chocolates. I'm sorry I have eaten them all except these.
Oh, you're an angel. Cream's delicious.
He looks anxiously to see whether there are any more. There are none. He can only scrape the box with his fingers and suck them. When that nourishment is exhausted, he accepts the inevitable with pathetic good humor and says with grateful emotion,
Bless you, dear lady, you can always tell an old soldier by the inside of his holsters and cartridge boxes. The young ones carry pistols and cartridges, the old ones grow. Thank you. Oh, don't do things so suddenly, gracious lady. It's mean to revenge yourself because I frightened you just now.
Frighten me? Do you know, sir, that though I am only a woman, I think I am at heart as brave as you.
I should think so. You have not been under fire for 3 days as I have. I can stand 2 days without showing it much, but no man can stand 3. I am as nervous as a mouse. Would you like to see me cry?
No.
If you would, all you have to do is scold me, just as if I were a little boy and you my nurse. If I were in camp right now, they'd play all sorts of tricks on me.
I'm sorry, I won't scold you. You must excuse me. Our soldiers are not like that.
Oh, yes, they are. There are only 2 sorts of soldiers, old ones and young ones. I've served 14 years. Half your fellows never smelt powder before. Why, how is it that you've just beaten us? Sheer ignorance of the art of war, nothing else. I never saw anything so unprofessional.
Oh, was it unprofessional to beat you?
Oh, well, come.
So now the man and Rainer, they are alone in this room, in Rainer's bedroom. Catherine, Lauka and the Russian officer has exited. So there is only this man and woman in this room. Now situation is getting a little more tense because Rainer is an unmarried but engaged young lady from the upper class and she is harboring a fugitive in her room. So this is indeed a dramatically tense moment. So the man is now relieved that he has been saved by this woman. But he says that a narrow save, but a miss is as good as a mile. So what he means is here, the save, തലനാരിഴയ്ക്ക് രക്ഷപ്പെട്ടു അങ്ങനെയാണ് പറയുന്നത്. So it was just a narrow save. But this time I got saved. It is as good as putting a mile distance between me and my captors. അപ്പം എന്നെ അന്വേഷിക്കുന്നവരുടെ 1 മൈൽ മുന്നേ ഞാൻ ഓടുന്നത് പോലെയാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ നീ എന്നെ രക്ഷിച്ചത്. സോ ഹി ഈസ് വെരി ഇൻഡെപ്റ്റഡ് ടു റൈന അറ്റ് ദിസ് പോയിന്റ്. സോ ദ മാൻ ഇസ് എക്സ്ക്ലെയിമിംഗ് ഹിസ് ഫോർച്യൂൺ ഓഫ് ബീങ് സേവ്ഡ് ബൈ a narrow chance. It is almost as good as running a mile in front of his captors. Now he is very indebted to Raina. He feels like she is his savior, and he says that I wish for your sake I had joined the Bulgarian army instead of the other one. I'm not a native Serb. Now he reveals that he is not actually a native Serb. ഞാൻ സെർബിയക്കാരനല്ല എന്നുള്ള കാര്യം അയാൾ റിവീൽ ചെയ്തു. അപ്പോൾ റൈന നാച്ചുറലി ചിന്തിച്ചു, if he is not a Serbian, he must be Austrian because Austrians are actually helping Serbia in this war. But the man reveals that he is neither. He belongs to Switzerland. He is a mercenary. A mercenary is someone who fights for money. Now Raina is further disgusted with this notion that somebody can fight for money, not patriotism or nationalism or any of those lofty feelings, but he is fighting a war just for the money. Now Raina's illusions are again getting shattered. She always had high and romantic expectations about war and soldier, heroism, patriotism, nationalism, all these feelings. Now all this feeling is also shattered because a soldier is in front of her who fights for money. So that is again, Raina is disgusted by this revelation. Again, the man is very thankful towards Raina for saving him. And he has a request now. He requests if she would let him wait in this room until it is safer to go out into the night. We saw that there are Russian and Bulgarian soldiers. Not Russian soldiers, Russian officers are there. Bulgarian soldiers are very drunk and violent at this point of time. They are roaming the streets. So if Raina let the man leave the room or the house at this point of time, it is sure that he will be caught. and he will be slaughtered by them. So the man has a request. He requests to let him wait in the room until it is safer to go out. So as things are getting a little more safer for the man, he is feeling safe in this bedroom. So there is this dramatic tension that develops between this man and the engaged woman. It is actually a dramatic situation. What could happen? This might be the first time Raina is alone at night with a man in her room. So, what is going to happen between them? We are also intrigued at this point of time. So, Raina tries to sit on the ottoman at this point of time. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞു ആ റൂമിലെ ഏറ്റവും ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഫേർണിച്ചർ ഓട്ടമൻ ആണ്, ബിക്കോസ് ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് വെരി ക്രൂഷ്യൽ ഇൻ ഡ്രമാറ്റിക് സിറ്റുവേഷൻസ്. Earlier, Raina threw her fur cloak on the ottoman, which the man snatched before she could get to it. And we also saw that before hiding behind the curtains, the man also threw his pistol on the ottoman. Now Raina tries to sit on the ottoman, then she suddenly sits on the pistol. Now she's scared. ഈ പിസ്റ്റളിന്റെ മുകളിൽ ഇരുന്നു എന്നുള്ള കാര്യത്തിൽ പെട്ടെന്ന് she got startled and she screams. പെട്ടെന്നൊന്ന് ചെറുതായിട്ടൊന്ന് വിളിച്ചു പോയി. And even this slight scream actually startles the man. We see that the man is frightened by sudden movements, noises, etc. Now Raina screams on sitting on the exposed revolver on the ottoman. Why is she screaming? She doesn't scream because she sat on the pistol. She suddenly realized that when the Russian officer came into the room, the pistol was actually lying exposed on the ottoman. If he had seen the pistol, he would have suspected that there is someone indeed hiding in this room, and he would have searched and discovered this man, and he would have killed him. So again, the strange man at this point, when Raina screamed, he also got really frightened. He says very irritably, "Don't frighten me like that. What is it?" So he is getting frightened and terrified at very slight and sudden movements and noises and all. This is also not Raina's idea of a perfect soldier. A soldier would not be frightened. പെട്ടെന്ന് ഒരു നിലവിളിയൊക്കെ കേട്ടാൽ പേടിക്കുന്ന ഒരാളല്ല ഒരു soldier. Again, Raina's idea of a soldier's behavior, it is getting disillusioned here. Now, this is the scene in which Raina is giving back the pistol to the soldier. Now, he reveals that the pistol is not loaded. ഇതിനകത്ത് ഉണ്ടയൊന്നുമില്ല എന്ന് പറയുന്നു. Raina says, "Okay, go ahead and load your pistol. You might have extra bullets. Just load your pistol with bullets." എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് ഇയാൾ പറയാണ്, "Actually, I have no ammunition. I don't have any bullets." Anyway, he reveals a very wonderful truth about warfare. He says that, "What uses are cartridges in battle? I always carry chocolate instead, and I finished the last cake of that hours ago." So the man reveals that instead of carrying extra bullets or extra ammunition, he fills his pockets with chocolates. He says that ഈ വെടിയുണ്ടകളൊന്നും കൊണ്ട് ഈ വാർ ഫ്രണ്ടിൽ ബാറ്റിൽ ഫീൽഡിൽ പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഒരു കാരണവുമില്ല. വിശപ്പാണ് ഏറ്റവും പ്രധാനമായിട്ടുള്ള ഇമോഷൻ. ഹങ്കർ ഇസ് എ മോർ പവർഫുൾ ഇമോഷൻ than nationalism or patriotism. So instead of bullets, I actually fill my pockets with chocolates, and I ate up the last of my chocolates a while back. Now Raina is again shocked and outraged at the behavior of the soldier. She had all these cherished ideals of manhood, that a soldier will be so heroic a man that he would do anything to save his country from the clutches of enemies. Now all these cherished ideals of manhood are being shattered. Now all she sees in front of her is a man who's terrified of dying, who prefers the emotion of hunger more than the emotion of patriotism. Now Raina, in that room, when we discussed earlier in the stage directions, we saw that there was a box of chocolates in the room. So she said that I have this box of chocolate creams. I ate almost everything. There is just 2 or 3 of it. So you eat it. The man is very grateful because he loves chocolates. Apparently, who doesn't, right? Everyone likes chocolates. So it is and he savors eating this chocolate. Like he is like a schoolboy. He stuffs his pocket with sweets and all. And when she offers him the box of chocolates, he says, "You are an angel. നീ വെറും പെണ്ണല്ല, നീ ഒരു മാലാഖയാണ്. And these creams are so delicious." And then he gobbles. There were only 3 chocolate creams in there. He gobbles it up, and then he scrapes the bottom of the box if there are any പറ്റി പിടിച്ചൊക്കെ ഇരിക്കുന്ന എന്തെങ്കിലും any remains at the bottom. Finally, when he accepts that there is no more chocolate creams, he gives the box back. So by the manner in which he is eating, it is very obvious that this man has been very hungry. He probably hasn't eaten in a very long time. And again, when Raina moves around, he looks very expectantly at her. He feels like there might be another box of chocolate in that room. Again, when Raina makes noise and when she gets up quick, he's frightened by sudden movements. So why is he this much frightened when there are sudden movements? This reveals that being in the war is very traumatic. And also, this man obviously haven't had much rest ever since he joined the battle. ഒന്നാമത് ബാറ്റിലിന്റെ ട്രോമ, രണ്ടാമത് റെസ്റ്റ് ഒന്നും ഇല്ലാതെയുള്ള ജീവിതം. So he even reveals that it's very easy to frighten me. And that's because I have been under fire for 3 days. 3 ദിവസമായി ഞാൻ ബാറ്റിൽ ഫീൽഡിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ നടക്കാൻ പോകുന്നു. 2 ദിവസത്തേക്കൊക്കെ ഒരു മനുഷ്യന് സഹിക്കാൻ പറ്റും, ബട്ട് നോ മാൻ can stand 3 days of battle, and I am feeling very nervous. And again, this is a revelation for Raina, because nobody in her family, not Sergius, not her father, none of them have revealed what truly goes through the mind of a soldier. They are also human beings with normal human emotions, but this is actually not exposed to the women in the household, women in the nation. So this is a revelation for Raina that soldiers are also normal human beings who actually get nervous, and they also have war trauma and all. So she had all these heroic images about soldiers, but she feels now that she can't believe all these old images. And then he says that he has been on the run for 3 days. That is the reason for his nervousness. And he also says that it is very easy to make him cry. All she has to do is make him sit down and scold him like he's a schoolboy. ഒരു കൊച്ചുകുട്ടിയെ വഴക്ക് പറയുന്നത് പോലെ പിടിച്ചെടുത്ത് ഇയാളെ വഴക്ക് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇയാൾ ഇപ്പം കരയും. അതുപോലത്തെ നെർവസ് സിറ്റുവേഷനിലാണ് ഇയാൾ. So see how a man is revealing his deepest thoughts, his vulnerabilities and his weaknesses, how he is also a human being who gets nervous and traumatic. So again, in this part is very important, because this man says something about soldiers. This is very important. He says that there are only 2 types of soldiers: old soldiers and new soldiers. ഇവിടെ പറയുന്നത് ഞാൻ ഒന്നും കൂടെ വായിച്ചു തരാം. There are only 2 sorts of soldiers, old ones and new ones. I have served 14 years. Half of your fellows never smelt powder before. Why, how is it that you've just beaten us? Sheer ignorance of the art of war, nothing else. Now, he says that there are only 2 types of soldiers in any battlefield: old soldiers and new soldiers. So the young soldiers are very enthusiastic and they engage in irrational deeds. Now comes a very dramatic information. ഒരു ടേണിംഗ് പോയിന്റ് വരുവാണ് ഇവരുടെ കോൺവെർസേഷനിൽ. So this turning point is, he claims that the recent victory at the Battle of Slivnitza, which the Bulgarian army got, it was also the result of one such irrational deed. So he says that young ones in the battlefield, they always engage in irrational deeds, like the Bulgarian army, which gained victory recently. So they actually did some irrational deed in the battlefield. Now the conversation is moving towards a familiar territory for Raina, because who was in the battlefield? Sergius. And also her father, but more importantly, Sergius was the reason for Bulgarian victory at the battlefield. Now, he is talking about them being irrational. Now she is getting a little interested about what happened at Slivnitza. So we will see this information shortly.
Well, calm. Is it professional to throw a regiment of cavalry on a battery of machine guns with the dead certainty that if the guns go off, not a horse or man will ever get within 50 yards of the fire? I could not believe my eyes when I saw it.
Did you see the great cavalry charge? Oh, tell me about it. Describe it to me.
You never saw a cavalry charge, did you?
How could I?
Perhaps not. No, of course not. Well, it's a funny sight. It's like slinging a handful of peas against a window pane. First one comes, then two, three close behind him, and then all the rest in a lump.
Yes, first one, the bravest of the brave.
You should see the poor devil pulling at his horse.
Why should he pull at his horse?
He's running away with him, of course. You suppose the fellow wants to get there before the others and be killed? And they all come. You can tell the young ones by their wildness and their slashing. The old ones come bunched up under the number one guard. They know that they're mere projectiles. There's no use trying to fight. The wounds are mostly broken knees and the horses cannoning together.
But I don't believe that the first man is a coward. I know he is a hero.
That's what you'd have said if you'd have seen the first man in the charge today.
I knew it. Tell me about him.
He did it like an operatic tenor, a regular handsome fellow with flashing eyes and lovely mustache, shouting his war cry and charging like Don Quixote at the windmills. We did laugh.
You dared to laugh?
Yes, but when the sergeant ran up as white as a sheet, told us they'd sent us the wrong ammunition, and that we could not fire around for the next 10 minutes, we laughed at the other side of our mouths. I never felt so sick in my life, though I've been in one or two very tight places, and I had not even a revolver cartridge, only chocolate. We'd no bayonets, nothing. Of course, they're just cut up to bits, and there was Don Quixote there flourishing like a drum major, thinking he'd done the cleverest thing ever known, whereas he ought to have been out-marshaled for it. Of all the fools ever let loose on a field of battle, that man must be the very maddest of them all. He and his regiment simply committed suicide. Only the pistol missed fire, that's all.
Indeed. Would you know him again if you saw him?
Shall I ever forget him?
She goes to the chest of drawers. He watches her with a vague hope that she may have something more for him to eat. She takes the portrait from its stand and brings it to him. That is the photograph of the gentleman, the patriot and hero to whom I am betrothed.
I'm really very sorry. Was it fair to lead me on? Yes, that is Don Quixote, not a doubt of it.
Why do you laugh?
I didn't laugh, I assure you. At least I didn't mean to. But when I think of him charging the windmills and imagining he was doing the finest thing...
Give me back the portrait, sir.
Of course. Certainly, I'm really very sorry.
He hands her the picture. She deliberately kisses it and looks him straight in the face before returning to the chest of drawers to replace it. He follows her, apologizing.
Perhaps I'm quite wrong, No doubt I am. Most likely he had got wind of the cartridge business somehow and knew it was a safe job.
That is to say, he was a pretender and a coward? You did not dare say that before.
It's no use, dear lady. I can't make you see it from the professional point of view.
As he turns to get back to the ottoman, a couple of distant shots threatened renewed trouble. So this is a picture of delicious chocolate creams. You might have eaten these chocolates at some point. So this is what Raina gives the soldier who probably has been hungry for a few days now. So he really relished eating these chocolate creams. So what happens next? Now the conversation has turned to a very familiar territory for Raina. She realizes that the man has been at the Battle of Slivnitza and he probably saw Sergius at work in the battlefield, winning this war for Bulgaria. So she is very curious to know first, someone saying firsthand what happened at Slivnitza. Then the man says that it was very unprofessional. It was really extremely unprofessional how Bulgarian army won the Battle of Slivnitza. So she is amazed at this point of time. She says, "Was it unprofessional to beat you?" Like, according to her, this man in her room is not a professional soldier because he doesn't have any chivalry, he doesn't have any ideals which are required for a soldier. He is outrageous. Is it unprofessional to beat somebody like him? Now the man says, what was the technical error in this particular battle of Slivnitza? ഈ സ്ലിവ്നിറ്റ്സയിൽ നടന്ന ബാറ്റിൽ തികച്ചും അൺപ്രൊഫഷണൽ ആയിരുന്നു എന്നാണ് ഈ 14 വർഷമായിട്ട് ആർമിയിൽ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന നമ്മുടെ സ്ട്രേഞ്ചർ പറയുന്നത്. സോ ഹി റിവീൽസ് വാട്ട് ഇസ് അൺപ്രൊഫഷണൽ അബൌട്ട് ദിസ് ബാറ്റിൽ, വിച്ച് ഇസ് to throw a regiment of cavalry to fight artillery. It is foolishness. So what really happened at Slivnitza? Sergius was leading a regiment of cavalry. Cavalry is soldiers who carry swords on horseback. And they actually marched against artillery. Artillery is a group of soldiers who are their weapons are guns, rifles, cannons, etc. So it was extremely unprofessional. It is like suicide to throw a regiment of cavalry to fight artillery. So finally, someone starts to paint an unromantic, practical view of the warfront. It is not always your feelings of patriotism and nationalism that drives you in the battlefield. It is careful planning regarding the structure of army and when and how exactly to fight in the battlefield. This is new information to Raina. Raina never thought that it was unprofessional before when her mother revealed about the Battle of Slivnitza and the Cavalry Charge. Only when this man reveals it does it dawn on Raina that this has actually been ridiculously unprofessional on the Bulgarian side. But Raina again gets very excited because he is talking about the first man who led the cavalry charge. Who is the first man who led the cavalry charge? Obviously, it was Sergius. That's what her mother told her. So Raina gets very excited. Again, the man asks a very curious question. You never saw a cavalry charge, did you? അപ്പോൾ ഒരു സ്ത്രീയായ റൈനയോട് ഈ മനുഷ്യൻ ചോദിക്കുകയാണ്, കാവലറി ചാർജ് ഒന്നും കണ്ടിട്ടില്ലേ ഇതിനു മുമ്പേ? How can a woman even witness a cavalry charge when they are not allowed to go to the battlefield? That's a very stupid and redundant question again. They shouldn't have asked it. So it actually irritates Raina a little bit. So the man describes to Raina what exactly happens in a cavalry charge. ഒരു കാവലറി ചാർജ്, അതായത് ഒരു കുതിരപ്പട മുന്നോട്ട് വരുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് എങ്ങനെയാണ് വരുന്നത്, ഇയാൾ ഒരു അനാലജി, ഒരു ഉപമ, മെറ്റഫറിലൂടെ കാണിക്കുകയാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. So let me read this metaphor for you. It's like slinging a handful of peas against a window pane. First one comes, then 2 or 3 close behind him, and then all the rest in a lump. So what happens during a cavalry charge is they don't all come together at one go. എല്ലാവരും കുതിരയായിട്ട് ഒരേ നിരയായിട്ട് ഒന്നിച്ച് ഒരേ സമയത്തല്ല കയറി വരുന്നത്. ഇറ്റ്സ് ലൈക്ക് ഇമാജിൻ യു ഹാവ് എ ഹാൻഡ് ഫുൾ ഓഫ് പീസ്. കൈ നിറച്ച് പയറോ അങ്ങനെ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു ധാന്യം നിങ്ങളുടെ കയ്യിൽ എടുക്കുകയാണ്. ആൻഡ് യു ആർ ഫ്ലിങ്ങിങ് ഇറ്റ് അഗേൻസ്റ്റ് എ ഗ്ലാസ് വിൻഡോ. ഇറ്റ് ഓൾ ഡസൻറ്റ് ഹിറ്റ് ദ ഗ്ലാസ് വിൻഡോ അറ്റ് ദ ഫസ്റ്റ് ടൈം. One pea will hit the glass window first. Then 2 or 3 will hit later. Then after that, all of a sudden, everything will hit. അപ്പോൾ ആദ്യം ഒരെണ്ണം ചെന്ന് മുട്ടും, അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് 2 or 3 എണ്ണം ഒന്നിച്ച് ചെന്ന് മുട്ടും, പിന്നെ എല്ലാം കൂടെ ഒന്നിച്ച് ഒരു വലിയൊരു ശബ്ദമൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാക്കി ഒരു വിൻഡോ പെയിനിൽ ചെന്ന് മുട്ടും. അങ്ങനെയാണ്. സോ ആക്ച്വലി ദ മാൻ യൂസസ് ദിസ് അനാലജി ഓഫ് ത്രോയിങ് പീസ് ഓൺ എ വിൻഡോ പെയിൻ ടു എ കാവലറി ചാർജ്. സോ ഫസ്റ്റ് one soldier comes, then 2 or 3 soldiers follow him, then all of them come in one go. So Raina gets really enthusiastic at this point because she knows that the first one is her fiancé. And again, even though this man shatters her image about war romance, she is still very hopeful that her hero, Sergius, might have done great things on the battlefield. Now she is very enthusiastic to listen to the rest of the story. Now, let's see what happens. Okay. So again, the man says that this first man to charge, to lead the cavalry charge, he was like a fool. He was like, you should have seen him. Now, Raina is getting so excited at the moment. She says, yes, the first one, I want to hear about him. He must be the bravest of the brave. Now, the man is getting really amused. He says that you should have actually seen this man on the battlefield. He was actually pulling at his horse. Obviously, the horse didn't even want to come into the battlefield with him. So he was literally pulling at his horse. So Raina says, why would he pull at his horse? Because the horse wanted to run away with him. Obviously, it has more intellect than this particular person. Now, he describes how Sergius, he doesn't know about Sergius yet, but we know that this is Sergius, how Sergius led the cavalry charge. It is very obvious that this man is a young soldier. He is new to the battlefield, and you can always tell the young ones by their wildness and their slashing. So, Sergius, this man who led the cavalry charge, was very unprofessional. It's obvious that he is young. He wanted to prove something to himself and the others. So he says that the old ones come bunched up under the number one guard. They know that they are mere projectiles and that it's no use trying to fight. The wounds are mostly broken knees from the horses cannoning together. So actually, the man reveals a universal truth to Raina at this point of time. The old soldiers, they know how to preserve themselves. They try to remain as safe as possible. They try to save their own lives at the battlefield. They always remain at the safest positions. Whereas these young men, they want to prove something to themselves and to others. So they do all kinds of irrational stuff, irrational behavior, like leading a cavalry to fight artillery. So again, Raina is getting a little perplexed. But I don't believe that the first man is a coward. I know that he is a hero. But then the man says, you should have seen this man. Yes, tell me more about him. Now, Raina wants to know really so much about the heroic acts of her fiance. And he says that he did it like an operatic tenor. What is an operatic tenor? You know operas, right? Operas are musical dramas. In operas, what happens is there are different kinds of voices are used. Some singers actually sing in extremely high pitch. Tenor is one such position. Tenor is a male voice singing extremely high pitches. I will make you listen to a short clip of operatic tenor. So he did it as dramatic as an operatic tenor. And he even calls him a Don Quixote. It's written Don Quixote, but it is supposed to be read Don Quixote. Okay, Don Quixote. Now, who is Don Quixote character? Let's look at this. Don Quixote is a leading character of this particular classic novel by Miguel de Cervantes, written in Spanish. So this is Don Quixote. Don Quixote used to read. Don means Mister. So his name is Quixote. Okay. So this guy wanted to. He used to read a lot of romantic novels about knights and romance and all. So he wanted to become a knight, and he wanted to restore people's beliefs in romance and chivalry and all. So he decided to become a knight on his own accord. But the only trouble was everything he engaged in, he would do something wrong with it. Like, let's look at this particular picture here. It happens in the middle of the night. Don Quixote sees a windmill from a distance. He feels like it is actually a monster who is trying to attack their village. So in the middle of the night, when he can't see anything, he charges at the windmill. Okay, he tries to slash the windmill down and kill the windmill, thinking that it is actually a monster. ഒരു രാക്ഷസനാണെന്ന് വിചാരിച്ച് ഈ വിൻഡ്മില്ലിനെ അടിച്ച് താഴെയിടാൻ വെട്ടി താഴെയിടാൻ വേണ്ടി ഓടുന്ന ഓട്ടമാണ് ഡോൺ കിഹോട്ടിയുടെ ഓട്ടമാണ് ഇവിടെ കാണുന്നത്. സോ സെർജിയസ് ഇസ് ആക്ച്വലി compared to Don Quixote. Like he was charging at the artillery like Don Quixote charged at the windmills. So when they saw Sergius marching towards artillery, the Serbian army was laughing as who is this stupid idiot who is leading this foolish cavalry charge. That's what they were thinking, and they were laughing. Now we finally get the true picture of Sergius. Sergius is actually not a war hero. He got this victory being totally unprofessional. Now the man can't stop laughing, thinking about Sergius. Now Raina's feelings are hurt because her fiance, her one and only beloved engaged man, is being called a fool and an operatic tenor and a Don Quixote and all. So the man says, we were all laughing at him. But then, when we were laughing, we suddenly got the information that we were sent the wrong ammunition. Correct ആയിട്ടുള്ള വെടിയുണ്ടയല്ല നമ്മുടെ കയ്യിൽ വന്നിട്ടുള്ള batch. These bullets which we have now, it wouldn't fit into the guns which we have. So we wouldn't be able to fire for at least 10 minutes. So that means that, the Bulgarian army is right in front of them with swords, and they had the overconfidence that they had guns loaded with bullets, but these bullets were not the right bullets. Now we finally understand the truth behind Bulgarian victory. How the Bulgarian army won this war. It was pure luck and unprofessionalism. It was a mere chance victory actually. It was provided to them by the ill fate of the enemies. The Serbians did not have a good fortune at this point of time. That is the only reason why the Battle of Slivnitza was won by Bulgarians. So we already discussed about Don Quixote. Now let's see what happens. Now Raina is obviously very hurt because this man is laughing at Sergius now. Raina asks him something. Do you still remember the leader of the cavalry? If you would you know him again if you saw him? But the man says, I will never forget someone like him. He's such a foolish man, I can never forget such a ridiculous man. Now Raina moves to the table, to the chest of drawers. Now the man is looking at her. He's hopeful that there might be another box of chocolates. That might be why she is looking into the drawers. We saw that there was a portrait of Sergius in the room. Now she takes the portrait. Now everything is a dramatic device. Don't you see? The ottoman, it had a very dramatic function of holding the pistol and the fur coat. Again, the chest of drawers had a wonderful function. It was holding chocolates, the portrait of Sergius, and some romantic novels. Again, she says, she takes Sergius' portrait and she shows it to the man and asks, is this the man? No, that's not what she asks. She says that is a photograph of the gentleman, the patriot and hero to whom I am betrothed. ഞാൻ വിവാഹം കഴിക്കാൻ പോകുന്ന ഹീറോ ആയിട്ടുള്ള പേട്രിയറ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള മനുഷ്യൻ, ജെന്റിൽമാൻ ഇതാണ്. Now the man is in a very bad situation because he has been saved by this gracious young lady, and he has spent the last few minutes ridiculing her fiancé. Now he understands that, he realizes this with such a shock. Says that I'm very sorry. Now this situation is called dramatic irony. Dramatic irony is a very funny situation. Audience and some characters on the stage are aware of a particular situation. One or two characters on the stage, they don't know about this situation, then they actually make a ridicule of themselves. ഇപ്പം ഇവിടെ സംഭവിച്ച എന്താന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ, നമുക്കറിയാം സെർജിയസിനെ കുറിച്ചിട്ടാണ് ഈ മനുഷ്യൻ സംസാരിക്കുന്നത് എന്നുള്ളത്. റൈനയ്ക്ക് അറിയാം സെർജിയസിനെ കുറിച്ചാണ് സംസാരിക്കുന്നത്. ഇതൊന്നും അറിയാതെ ഈ മനുഷ്യൻ സെർജിയസിനെ വീണ്ടും വീണ്ടും അടിച്ചു താഴ്ത്തി സംസാരിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. കളിയാക്കുന്നു, അയാളെ ഫൂൾ എന്ന് വിളിക്കുന്നു, ഓപ്പറാറ്റിക് ടെനർ എന്ന് വിളിക്കുന്നു, പിന്നെ ഡോൺ കിഹോട്ടി എന്ന് വിളിക്കുന്നു, അങ്ങനെ പല പേരുകളൊക്കെ ബാഡ് മൗത്തിങ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടേയിരിക്കുകയാണ്. ആൻഡ് ദിസ് ആക്ച്വലി ഇന്റൻസിഫൈസ് ദ കോമഡി ഇൻ ദ ഡ്രാമ. സോ സച്ച് എ സിറ്റുവേഷൻ ഇസ് കോൾഡ് ഡ്രാമാറ്റിക് ഐറണി, വേർ audience and some members in some characters on the stage are aware of a situation where one or two characters, they are not aware and they make a fool of themselves. So that is called dramatic irony. So anyway, Raina now becomes really defensive. The man, he realizes his mistake. He says, I'm very sorry. Was it really fair to lead me on? എന്നോട് നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞുകൂടായിരുന്നോ ഇതൊക്കെ? So yes, that is Don Quixote. I'm so sorry. That is the man. Again, he can't stop laughing. Even now, he can't stop laughing because he's so reminded of his foolishness at the battlefront. Now, Raina asks, why do you laugh again? The man says, I didn't laugh at you. I didn't mean to, but I can't get the picture of him marching against the artillery. It's exactly like Don Quixote marching at the windmills. I can't think of anything else. Now, Raina is getting very angry. She holds the portrait to her chest and kisses it. Earlier, she didn't do that. She has never shown much fondness towards the picture. നേരത്തെ നമ്മൾ കണ്ടപ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് റൈന ആ പിക്ചർ ഉയർത്തിപ്പിടിക്കുന്നത്, she only raises it above her head. She doesn't do things like she doesn't kiss the portrait or hold it or hug it or anything. But she does it now, maybe to defend Sergius, maybe as a romantic gesture, that she still believes in him. Now the man realizes that he's in a very bad situation. He's in a fix, and he apologizes to Raina. He says that I'm really sorry about the situation. Maybe I'm totally wrong about this situation. Maybe Sergius is not actually a fool. Maybe he actually knew about the ammunition situation even beforehand. That might be why he charged the cavalry at the artillery. So he says that സർജിസിന് ചിലപ്പോൾ നേരത്തെ ഞങ്ങളുടെ വെടിയുണ്ട മാറിപ്പോയ കാര്യം ചിലപ്പോൾ മനസ്സിലായി കാണോ, അതുകൊണ്ടായിരിക്കുമല്ലോ അയാൾ കാവലറി ആയിട്ട് ആർട്ടിലറിയുടെ അടുത്ത് ഫൈറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി വന്നത്. This actually makes Raina really angry. That is to say, he was a pretender and a coward. അപ്പൊ അതിന്റെ അർത്ഥം എന്താണ്? അദ്ദേഹം ഒരു പ്രിറ്റൻഡറുമാണ്, ഒരു പേടിത്തൊണ്ടനുമാണ്, അതല്ലേ? നേരത്തെ അറിയാമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാല് എല്ലാം അറിഞ്ഞു വെച്ചിട്ട് അറ്റാക്ക് ചെയ്യാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഹീസ് എ പ്രിറ്റൻഡർ. ഹി വാസ് ജസ്റ്റ് പ്രിറ്റൻഡിങ് ടു ബി ബ്രേവ്. Raina is getting more and more defensive about Sergius. Now we witness that the man had some kind of favor with Raina. That is why Raina actually saved this man. But now his favor is actually falling by the second. Every second he does some mistake or the other. Earlier he was only ridiculing Sergius. Now he opines that Sergius might be a pretender too. So he has actually successfully offended Raina now. Now he says that it is, you can't really understand how unprofessional this guy was. It's no use, dear lady. I can't really make you see how unprofessional this was, because you are a woman. You haven't been to the battlefield. That is why you don't understand dynamics like this. So let's stop this video here, and we will pick it up in the next video where I'll try and manage to finish this act. So I hope this was beneficial for you, and see you again in the next video. Thank you for your attention. Bye.